Greetings, beloved friends. Let us arrive in the present moment, letting our feet lovingly root into the living earth. Bring one hand to your lower belly and the other to your heart, and close your eyes. Become aware of your breath, letting each inhale and exhale draw you deeper into presence. As we gather across distances, let us return in spirit to the sacred hill of Chartres, to that holy stone, the spiraling labyrinth, the spring beneath the cathedral, source and mystery. We invite the presence of Our Lady of the Springs, the living intelligence of water, pulsing within us, around us, and beneath us, holding and connecting us all. May our time together be consecrated to truth, to tenderness and renewal. May the waters within us know themselves as one water. And may what begins here flow outward in blessing. And so it is. چنین باشد به مهر یار. Thank you.
Thank you, Banafshe. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I want to welcome you to this community call. It's September, following our gathering 2 months ago in July 6th through 12th in Chartres for Geometrica, the sixth of the liberal arts, where we contemplated the living intelligence and spirituality of water with Veda Austin. We also contemplated the cosmic dimensions and the extraterrestrial beings with Bertie Jaworski as we, for 7 days, engaged in ceremony and ritual. We're going to be also discussing the pilgrimage next year. We'll get to that in the latter half of the program today. But for now, what we wanted to do is just as we have for 20 years, what we do is a recapitulation for those who were there, some of their remembrances. When we're present in Chartres for those 7 days, it seems like it goes by in a flash, and you start and then it's over. And we've had these like 12, 16-hour days, starting early and going late, and all the camaraderie and the ceremony and the teachings and the meals and the walks to the mother tree and everything that takes place. It's sometimes only in hindsight that the deeper meaning of walking the labyrinth or having some interaction with a fellow pilgrim or a faculty member really begins to penetrate our psyches and souls. And so we want to spend some time today just remembering. And I want to invite any of you that would like to speak to raise your hand, and I'll call on you so that we can. Um, there we go. I got everybody up. So anybody that was there who would like to share their experiences in Chartres, this past pilgrimage, just raise your hand and then I'll open up your video and your audio, and you can share with the group. Banamshe, why don't, while we're waiting for people to raise their hands, why don't you come back on and share your experience?
Yes, I like what you were saying about how we have the experience and then later we actually sort of start to grasp the meaning, which happens over time. Uh, for me, when I reflect back on our time in Chartres, and I've said this before, I said it in our last day, I felt like this was one of the most coherent groups,
Mm,
one of the most mature group of people where we were able to sort of feel feel that we were contributing to the flow of the week. People were not just passively being people were not just being passive recipients. We were all
mm,
co-creating, and I could really
yeah.
feel that. And sometimes we have people who have difficulty with this and that and feel challenged by little things. And I didn't notice that in our group. So for me, the biggest realization, the deepest experience was the the group itself, what we created together. It's always very profound to be in Chartres, where you can sense the presence of the divine feminine so vividly. So it's always profound and always a new teaching arrives for me. But I have to say, this time it was really the coherence of the group itself that touched me deeply. And I also want to add that for the first time, we had my beloved musical companion of many years, Tony Khalife, with us.
Mm,
And
yes.
Tony's contribution was just amazing. I feel that the love that he pours into the music and into just every interaction he has with people was very well received, and it was very additive to our experience. Veda Austin was profound. Berdy Jaworski was profound. And it was wonderful to share the time with Heather Ashamara and Margot Borden, Kaylin, Rain, and of course you. So everything I feel was just wonderful. Really, I'm very blessed and grateful for the time we had together.
Thank you. And Katie Augustine. Katie has been a stalwart at Chartres for many years. She's always eager and willing to help. She's was part of the ritual team. So Katie, thank you for all you've done to support Chartres over these years, and share with us, your
Oh,
reflections.
thank you. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I heard you say it. I was like, oh, I was eating lunch. I'm like, I want to brush my teeth and get on here. So I mean, the experience, I think the first thing I want to speak to is the maturity of the group, as you are both speaking to. And it just was so nice to be with such like-minded people. And also to your point, like everyone was supportive of each other. Everyone was holding a certain state, very patient with each other, very loving toward each other, just got along. We had fun, I just love the group that you're attracting to Chartres and the pilgrimage. My own experience, I think the part that was best for me was hearing from Veda and Bertie some of the consciousness of water and the consciousness of our really all of our psychic abilities, but like this idea of remote viewing and hearing the stories helped me take all of that in at a deeper level, in knowing that there are so many things happening in this world, our cosmic world, at so many levels that it just was a way to deepen that. I think I thought that before, but this was a way to deepen it. When you seeing the images in the water, I actually would go for a bit of Veda's talk, I would really actually go into process and be zoned out for a minute. Just the energy was so strong. But then viewing both the remote viewing images and the water images, and then hearing from the young adults from the telepathy tapes that also were part of Veda's sharing, it helped me really take this idea that water is consciousness. There's all sorts of levels and quantum levels of consciousness that are occurring all around us. And especially today, when I feel like there's so much so much in the bubbling of this evolution, right? This boiling point of the what I consider an evolutionary birthing, but this boiling point, and seeing, it's so easy to get kind of caught in that up until now, but to remember that there are other levels of consciousness working around and with us, and if we can just lean into. So for me, that was some of the best. And then being part of the ritual ceremony and being able to hold energetic state in the cathedral and just for and with everyone was quite an honor and a privilege of I just felt like it was I had deep reverence for each person there, and then for the ceremonies we were having as well. So I want to thank you both, and thank the entire team, Heather, Ash, and the entire team, and Katie, and everyone who was holding and created this wonderful program, because it was magnificent. Really, there's no other words. It was magnificent. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. This phrase of the bubbling point of evolution. We are absolutely at the bubbling point. I don't think there is any doubt about it. Any doubt about it. And I don't know whether I could screen share, but it just occurs to me that people would, to your point, Katie, about the multiple intelligences, I should show the UFO that was filmed above the cathedral. Let me see if I can bring that up. I'm not very good at this stuff, but let me see here.
And while
Because
Jim's
that
bringing it up,
was
I'll
a total.
explain. I don't know if everyone here is aware of. So as we were moving into the cathedral for our labyrinth walk and our sacred ceremony, one of our pilgrims was taking pictures of the birds outside the cathedral, and ended up, just getting a number of pictures. And then when she was in, and after the ceremony was completed, and we were sitting in kind of silent reverence in the cathedral, she looked through her pictures and found this beautiful image of a UFO next to the cathedral. And that we were all enlightened and alive around that. But then when we looked at it closer, it really looked like a set of Tibetan bells. And what was absolutely beautiful about this is it literally, Kalen showed his bells that he was, and thanking Kalen also for holding state this whole time, the whole the whole pilgrimage. But there it is. And it literally.
There we go, everyone. As Katie's saying, one of the pilgrims was just, while we were waiting to get inside, as you know, people are there, you're just sort of hanging out there on the north portal for, in this case, it was the south portal to go in. She thought she was filming birds. And then what happened was she blew it up. She realized that it was a saucer with a little tail. And do I have to stop sharing and go back? Let's see. And it turned out that right when the UFO appeared over the cathedral, Kalen was clearing the labyrinth. Because as you know, that's what Kalen does. He always clears the energy every morning before we come into the Etienne room or the San Charles room. And when we go into the cathedral, he's clearing the energy. And he was using this Tibetan bell to clear the labyrinth. And this UFO, looking like his bell, appeared And then the kicker was, just a second, the kicker was simultaneously with that, a crop circle appeared in England. And this is, I think, the third or fourth time that while we've been in Chartres, there's been a crop circle that appears exactly while we're there, doing something like we were doing walking the labyrinth, that reinforces what it is that we're doing. And as you all may know, there's a whole body of interpretive um, evidence that the crop circles are functions of UFOs. They're being created by the same intelligences that manifest as UFOs. And the UFOs, as you know, can be orbs. They can appear, they can shapeshift. They can appear as animals, deer, owls, elk. They have a remarkable capacity to anthropomorphize, to actually shape shift themselves into an image or a configuration of energy that the human that's encountering them will be able to understand. It's really quite extraordinary. And for us to have that experience when we were in Chartres is exactly what Katie's talking about. It was really, really wild, really wild.
Jim,
Okay.
I know there's others that may want to speak. Do I have
Yeah,
time
just,
for one?
yeah, keep going.
Okay, just one other update, and I hope this is okay, but bringing in
Sure.
our pilgrimage in Teotihuacan. And some of you met Jotima. I mean, if you were there, you met Jotima, who happens to be one of my spiritual elders. And I wanted to mention that I was at a fireside chat with her just yesterday. And so I was really happy to connect that way. But one of the things she shared, and I thought you all, those of you that were there, especially when we were listening to and praying with the mother's message, was she mentioned she is still doing and traveling. She was in Colombia, et cetera, just this summer with the Kogi elders and some of these indigenous elders that are doing these ceremonies across the sacred sites. And she did mention that there's going to be another message, like an update to the message.
Yeah.
I'll share that, or maybe she will, but I'll share that with you too, Jim, at the time when it comes out. So I thought you all might be interested in that. And they're still holding ceremony and going to these sacred sites. So know that more work is being done on that.
Now, Diane, where did you disappear to? Diane, there she is. Okay, ask to unmute. There we go. Diane, good to see you. Very good to see you.
Oh, it's lovely to see you too. It just makes me feel how much I miss you all. Like really, it was such I have to say something because I mean, I've attended many, many conferences, but this one, like your word, Jim, magical. Every part of this conference was, in my opinion, absolutely magical and elevating. You walked in on day one and you were a different person on the end of the week walking out of there. The experience was, to me, incredibly profound. The participants themselves were just an absolute delight. I totally agree with your comments on just the coherence and the maturity of the group. Like I totally understand what you're talking about. And Jim, I do want to say that one of the highlights for me personally was very much your daily dose that we got from you at the beginning of every day as you outlined this story about how did we get here? You were answering that very big question about our evolution of a species up to this point, up to this tremendous shift point, and trying to give us some overall context in terms of just so yeah, like how did we get here? And understanding that is pretty important to figuring out where we are in this shift and what lies ahead. So I do want to say that as much as I appreciated every one of the speakers and participants, it's hats off to you for doing that. I thought that was so
Well, thank
special.
you.
It kind of knitted for me the conference from beginning to end in a way, and it was like you were telling us a story. I couldn't wait to get there to, what's the next chapter of this story that you're telling us, right? Like it's like so beautiful that we're going through this. And it was
Yeah.
like, okay, turn the page. Okay, I'm going. I'm here. I'm listening to this. Anyways, I thought you did a tremendous job in giving us not only the right kind of context that we needed for the times that we are in, and answering that pretty profound question, and one that has to be answered, in my opinion, to really embrace the shift that we're going through. Because the shift is really a reflection of where we have come from and how we have arrived at the point that we have arrived at. So again, I just wanted to mention that the conference was incredibly special, incredibly well organized. All of the participants, Bonachet, your magical, absolute divine feminine in our presence was amazing. Yes, amazing every day. It was, I don't know, it was just it had a lot of magical ingredients that I only hope can be replicated, Jim, because boy, you have set the bar pretty darn high.
Well, we're doing our best, boss. We're planning on the next one. And by the way, everybody, Diane has a very interesting story of high level civic government official that answered the call of the heart that ended up channeling some very important and very elevated spiritual material, and as an example in her own right of this bubbling moment that Katie was talking about, is that how these different intelligences now are starting to impinge themselves on human affairs.
Exactly.
So that right at the moment we're teetering on the brink, nature and the cosmos are coming to us like Mother Mary and offering wisdom and solace and choosing different vessels like Diane. And Diane, just take a moment just to tell people the work that you're doing, because it is quite extraordinary.
Oh my, Jim, you're putting me on the spot here. Uh, this isn't about me. I mean, it's like
Well, it's about all of us,
it
actually.
it is about all of us. Yes, it is about all of us. But yes, you are correct that I was called to channel particularly Arcturians, just for those that may understand Arcturians, because they're science-based kind of an intelligence that's very technology and science-based. And I started, yes, I had to leave my career and move into this. It was pretty insistent. And they are channeling, they said that there would be 4 books. I'm working on the 3rd one right now, which is absolutely fascinating. It's in a different league on its own. And so they continue to channel this material through me. So I'm plugging, this is occupying my days now. I'm actually creating the 3rd book in the series of 4. So they're all called The Alchemy of Becoming, and it is what they have said is that this is the first time in recorded history that we are capable of engineering our own level of consciousness. That in previous times, there was always a kind of artificial lid that was put on the progression from in each incarnation. on the level of consciousness that we could obtain in a given lifetime. And it was modest. It increased, but it was fairly modest. And given that we are in a particularly precarious time as far as they are concerned, that our level of intelligence far exceeds our level of consciousness. So what we can create in laboratories or splitting of the atom or whatever far exceeds the ability of consciousness that they would like us to have to navigate our intelligence, to manage it appropriately. And so this is the very first time where they wanted to give me a methodology where it was possible to engineer your level of consciousness, to raise it far beyond the veils that have previously existed on that. And it is because it is so badly needed right now to get us into this shift for whatever you want to call it, the new human, the new earth, and the idea that we sit on this inflection point between devolution and evolution. And that, as Jim said, they are here to help us. They are, it's pulling out all the stops. And this methodology was just one area where they wanted to be of significant help. And they said, it doesn't take all of you, but it certainly takes enough of you, just enough of you, to be at that level of consciousness that it is going to have a significant impact on that inflection point. So again, I thought that this conference was really a part of that. It was really like getting that community together. And there are many paths to this higher levels of consciousness. The methodology they've given me is only one path, but this conference itself and bringing the people together, the material, the awareness that we are conscious of our consciousness, like that's huge. To just be, conscious of our consciousness is absolutely tremendously huge. So anyways, that's my story. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That I wanted to underscore what Diane and Katie were bringing forth about the various aspects of consciousness, because we're in the middle of a multi-intelligence revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the point that you just made, Diane, which I hadn't really considered before, that this is the first time in human history where we have the capacity to engineer
Yes,
a dramatic upgrade and refinement in our own consciousness.
exactly.
And I think it's going to come in part with honoring the intelligence of nature and the intelligence of the cosmos. And we've also unleashed artificial intelligence. So if you think about it, we've got 4 intelligences on our hands in this bubbling. We got human intelligence, nature intelligence, artificial intelligence, and cosmic intelligence. And how that comes together is going to be really an amazing transitional maturation for the human race.
Absolutely.
And your manual, which I've looked at, she very graciously gave me one of the books. Is really a manual. It's not so much a book. It's a handbook.
Yes.
And how you prepare your consciousness for that kind of an elevation. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Both. Thank you. So Banafshe, why don't we transition to Astronomica and what's going to take place next year, because we do the different liberal arts, and next year is going to be the completion of a 7 years, and our commitment from the very beginning, back in 2005, was to do 3 cycles of 7. So next year will be the final liberal art, possibly the final pilgrimage to Chartres. And so we're preparing something that's building on what we just completed in terms of Geometrica, and going to be taking it to the next level with Astronomica. And so Banafshe, why don't you take the lead, describe what's going on, and then I'll fill in. And I'll put the link, everyone, into the chat so you can register. We just got the syllabus up a few days ago. It's ready to go, and it's going to be the greatest grand finale that I can imagine having, given our 21 years next year in Chartres. So Banashe, tell us what's in store.
Well, it's so appropriate that Astronomica, the seventh liberal art, and the final celebration of the 21 years, is going to be dedicated to the rising of the feminine, which represents really the rising of our consciousness, as Diane was so beautifully telling us about. The rising of our physicality, of our consciousness, to a whole new level of integration between matter and spirit, between the body and soul, as represented by the Assumption of Mary. So we will be in Chartres in August, my favorite time to be there, during the Feast of the Assumption of Mary. Some of you have already been a part of pilgrimages that we've led at that time and know how beautiful it is to be there at that time, when a Black Madonna that is pretty much hidden from the public eye almost all of the year is processed through the streets of Chartres. She's flanked with beautiful flowers and adoringly processed through the streets, evoking ancient times and the veneration of the Black Madonna by the Druids, by the Celts. This beautiful statue is processed through the streets and then finally arrives in the cathedral. She's at the altar for about a day and then taken into the choir where the statue of the Assumption of Mary is. She stays there until the coronation of Mary, which is 7 days later, the coronation that represents her stepping into being the Queen of Heaven and Earth. So a very beautiful time to be there and to celebrate this rising, this glorious recognition of the sanctity of matter. When we were there, every time people feel like we're like the team of the Black Madonna as we process with her through the streets. It's really a profound time. And it's going to be even more profound because our focus is going to be Mary Magdalene and her teaching, what she brought as the second greatest teacher of Christianity. And we're going to focus specifically on the description of the ascension that she gives us in the Gospel of the Beloved Companion. At the end of the Gospel, she traces this ascent through 8 boughs of the great tree within. So together with the great scholar and mystic, Anine Vandermeer, who's written countless books on the Black Madonna and Mary Magdalene, together with her, we will explore this deep, deep map, actually, of ascension. And I will try to complement what she is bringing with movement and focus through really trying to embody this teaching. We're also blessed that Andrew Harvey will be with us. He has a new book coming out, The Revolution of Mary Magdalene. So together with Andrew and Anine, we will explore Mary Magdalene's teachings. We also have the wonderful Peggy Rubin with us, who will guide us into some sacred theater, also embodying the teachings. Heather Ashamara will be with us, Kaylin Rain, of course, and Margot Borden. And again, I'm sure the highlight of the week will be Jim Garrison's short nuggets in the morning. But this is our plan for the week. And following the week, we will have a pilgrimage to the sites of Mary Magdalene in south of France, which I am extremely excited about. I've never been, but Andrew Harvey will be leading this pilgrimage along with Veronique Floyal. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She lives in southern France, and she is in the lineage of Mary Magdalene. Jim, did I leave anything out?
No, this is great. But tell us a little bit more, Banafsheh, about Anine and the message that she's going to be bringing in and what you're working on with her in terms of the Mary Magdalene and the Tree of Life. That's a very, very powerful motif for the week.
Well, Anine, if you're not familiar with her work, she has done a lot of research, and her research has been, looking at historical facts, but also at the channeled material, people who have channeled Mary Magdalene. So her books are a combination of these historical facts and the channeled material, which has led her to come up with an amazing story about Mary Magdalene and her teachings, the wisdom that she brought that is very deeply connected with the Black Madonna. So Anine will be giving parts of this, the wisdom teaching and the story of Mary Magdalene, but together, because we are going to be in Chartres during the Assumption of Mary, the week of the Assumption of Mary, and the theme of the rising of matter into light, I really asked her if we can focus on the great tree within. Jim, you refer to the tree as a tree of life, and I think Anine as well refers to it as the tree of life. So this great tree within that really maps out the ascension in eight stages, and what we need to confront at each stage to be able to rise higher. And at each stage, there's a shadow content or something that represents what holds us back, and how we overcome that to then step to the next level and be able to, as Mary Magdalene speaks about it, eat the fruit of what evolves us. So we will be journeying through the week. We will move through this tree slowly, trying to understand what are the things that we're overcoming, and what fruits are we partaking of in order to grow, in order to move and really experience an ascension as she did, as she mapped out for us. And doing this during this very potentiated time where Mother Mary has already walked through that path, I think is very, very profound. And I think we will receive the blessings of both Mother Mary and Mary Magdalene as we dedicate ourselves to ascension, and thereby help raise consciousness on the collective level. As Diane was saying, it doesn't take the whole of the population of Earth for us to ascend to this new level of consciousness, to birth a new humanity. So our hope is that during this week, we can be part of the people that Diane was referring to, lifting the consciousness of the whole of the planet.
Yeah, just thank you very much for that. And just to underscore two things that Banafsheh said, everyone, Anine Vandermeer's book on Magdalene's Ascension is the first book, at least that I know about, where a scholar, a PhD, deeply rooted in footnotes and bibliography and research, and knows the Nag Hammadi material. And normally when you write a book about anything having to do with history, you stick to the facts and nothing but the facts, right? As it's allowed in a scientific reductionist paradigm. But what Anina's done is taken everything that we can gather from historical research, like you would do it in a university, and filling it out with different mediums, people who've channeled, people who have resonated in one way or another with Mary Magdalene through their own psychic journey. And I've learned enough now about remote viewing, sitting at the feet of Bertie Jaworski and taking a number of her classes. Through remote viewing, your mind can connect not only anywhere in the world, but any time, past, present, and future, because it's all one. So what she's done, it's a fabulous book. I recommend it. It's one of the required readings for next year. Magdalene's Ascension is a parallel process between channeled material and historical research. And so it's a breakthrough category, and it's another indication of what Katie was talking about and Diane, that we're in this bubbling point of evolution where in order to engineer the raising of our consciousness, we need to come to terms with the reality that we are not alone and we can't make it alone. We need nature now. We need the extraterrestrials. We need to start looking at the channeling material of these various mediums. And all that is going to be coming together in the State of the World Forum, actually, coming up in December, which I'll be telling, we're going to be sending out an email about in a week or two, but certainly in the culmination of our time in Chartres through Astronomica next year. And that leads to the second point, and that is to the very, very deep profundity of the resurgence of Mary Magdalene. And again, like the ETs are showing up, the nature intelligences are showing up. Well, after 2,000 years of repression, Mary Magdalene's showing up. I mean, you have Anine Vandermeer just coming out with a big book. Andrew Harvey told me he thought his is called the Magdalene Revolution, as you might expect from Andrew Harvey. He's going to be there, and then he'll be leading our jointly leading our pilgrimage after Chartres down into Provence to be really in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene. But the resurgence of Mary Magdalene at this moment of the bubbling point could not be more profound for the reasons that Banafsheh stated, that it's Mary Magdalene's presence in the life of Jesus that grounded him in physicality, in the embodiment of the body, in sensuality and sexuality and in eros, and made him the vibrant personality that he was. And so the whole story of Mary Magdalene, who, according to many scholarly researchers, who was actually the author of what has been called the Gospel of John. She wrote it. And it was later that the church masculinized it as the patriarchy was coming into hierarchical control of the newly bursting Christian religion. And Mary Magdalene was eliminated. And she disappeared for nearly 2,000 years, essentially. And now she's flowering back up. All these things are happening, as Katie was saying, in this bubbling point. So for us to go to Chartres next year, Astronomica, the final liberal art, in the spirit of Mary Magdalene, at the Feast of the Assumption, I'm telling you, you want to be there. I'm just telling you, you want to be there. And we want to get as many people as possible. And by the way, if you sign up between now and I think it's December 15th, we're giving a discount because we want to maximize the number of people that can go, so that we can all celebrate what we've accomplished over 21 years in Chartres, and celebrate this sacred sanctorum of the university, certainly my life, in the spirit of this great feminine figure of the Western tradition.
So it's called Madonna Rising. It's not called Astronomica. It's called Madonna Rising,
Yeah.
as symbolic of Astronomica. And as Jim said, this is the early bird rates, and I recommend that everyone act fast. And the pilgrimage after Chartres, the page will be coming soon. And that one is going to be limited only to 20-some people, Jim.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah, that's going to be, by the nature of things, Veronique, whose family, by the way, has been curating the Mary Magdalene tradition in that Cathar territory of France for over 300 years. So she's an embodiment. She's one of the scions of that lineage, and she lives there, and she's dedicated her life. So to have Veronique and Andrew co-leading this extraordinary, but we want to keep it small and intimate. So sign up soon. It's going to be good. We haven't got the syllabus for the post Chartres pilgrimage. That's coming in a week or two, and we'll post it and send it out to everybody. But this is a very exciting time. So thank you. Well, that might be enough for today. Banafshe, unless there's anything else you would like to add, why don't you give us a benediction?
Yes, unless people have any questions. I also want to say that Tony Khalife will be with us as well.
Yes.
Yes, which is amazing.
Yes.
Any questions, any comments, any more reflections from the journey we already had?
Oh, Mickey Rimmen. Let's see here. I'll promote him to panelist and allow to talk. Mickey is a very old friend of mine. We go back to the 80s in the Soviet days. And Mickey does incredible stuff with sight and sound. There he is. Hi, Mickey. You got to unmute.
Here it is.
There we go.
So here's my wife, Mozia, and I just have a little piece
Hello.
to what's been said, the totality of the experience. Of course, we couldn't agree more, but I just like to zero in on one tiny little detail that to me encapsulated the power of surprise and exuberance that was so present in this pilgrimage. And that was, yes, that it was amazing to have this UFO picture found on the pilgrim's iPhone. But what struck me more, we were all sitting there reverent and in ceremonious solemn moods in these benches. And all of a sudden there was a ripple of laughter and joy and exuberance. And that was when the lady and Jim, you started looking at this UFO photo. And to me, it's not just the photo and the appearance of the craft or orb, it was the response from the pilgrims that was so light and so lighthearted and so joyful and so and totally unplanned, that to me, that was really a spirit that bonded me to the church, to get away from the Catholic spy who was monitoring the whole thing and really burst out into kind of freedom laughter. So that is the one little element as a PS that I found really, really important, and it keeps resonating dear in my heart. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mickey. Good to see both of you in Chartres. I hope to see you next year.
We plan to come.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Banafshe, why don't you give us a closing benediction and we'll bring this to a close.
Happy to.
Thank you.
Well, beloved friends, as we close, may we carry the current of Chartres within us like a spring that never dries. And as we move forward toward the equinox, may be guided into balance, light and dark, inner and outer, the seen and the unseen. May we walk like as living rivers of blessing, meeting the turning of the seasons with gratitude. And so it is. باشد چنین به مهر یار. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you in the second week of October, the second Sunday of October. Many blessings to you.
Thank you, Banafshe. Thank you, everyone. Love you all. See you next month.